Dimitri Soudas, former director of communications for the Harper government and political commentator. Hello, Dimitri.
Trudy, I've never had such a glorious introduction. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks. It was a big day for the Trudeau Liberals today. Put on their Santa Claus suits and showered taxpayers with some breaks. We're going to get a 2-month GST holiday over the holidays starting in mid-December through to mid-February. We're also, in the case of workers, going to be getting those $250 checks come spring. Your take on whether this will translate into sustained support for the Trudeau Liberals?
Well, sustained support right now, they need more than sustained support. They need increased support. There was an Abacus poll that just came out today that says for the first time in almost forever, the Liberals and the NDP are tied nationally in voter intentions, and that's not a good sign because the Conservatives continue to have a significant lead. In terms of today's announcement, so two parts to it, as you said. There's the GST rebate from mid-December until mid-February. I hope people start their Christmas shopping early or delay it, actually, rather than early. Don't buy your Christmas trees. Don't buy your Christmas gifts before December 14th because you won't get that 5% decrease in the GST savings that you have. You know, many are saying right now that this is just pure out vote buying in many ways. A minority government that is struggling to survive with the Conservatives and the Bloc wanting to defeat them as quickly as possible. This is clearly an agreement or a deal that was cooked up between the NDP and the Liberals. Many of us thought that they divorced. Jagmeet Singh ripped up that announcement a few months ago. But even though they may have divorced from each other, they still seem to be having an affair. And what the NDP is also saying is, why not make it permanent? And that's the challenge, Trudy. Once you give something, so this GST rebate on things like toys, on things like beer, once you put that in place, how do you take it away? So the big question is, are the Liberals going to extend it? The cost for this, between the GST rebate and the $150 check, is $6 billion. So let's keep adding to that deficit while we're at it. Now, on the check that Canadians and working Canadians will be getting sometime in spring, it will apply to all those who make $150,000 per year or less. Now, I'll ask you this question. If in a household, one person makes $130,000 and the other person makes $140,000, that's a total combined household income of $270,000. Do they truly need this check?
We have had a number of texters suggesting that maybe there should have been a much lower income cutoff for that benefit.
And that is something reasonable to ask. But at the same time, this now just keeps adding to the federal deficit. So the federal government, the last budget, just a few months ago, last spring, anticipated the deficit would be at $40 billion. In the next few weeks, the federal government will also table its fiscal economic update, just like the Quebec government did today. The big question is, and the parliamentary budget officer is now estimating that deficit to climb up to almost $50 billion. So we're adding to the deficit. We've more than tripled the debt. And the challenge with such policies, especially if you're going to take them away, the biggest challenge is, what actual impact does it have? So we'll talk about short-term Santa Claus, but long-term Grinch. So continuous deficits that right now we have a structural deficit at the federal level. It's an increase in public debt. It rises borrowing costs for the government of Canada. It obviously contributes to inflation. It has a crowding out effect. It also takes away the government's ability to have flexibility in the budget in case of a true recession, in case of unanticipated expenditures. And the biggest problem of all, in many ways, is we keep transferring the burden to the future generations. So the big question, like you asked in the very beginning, will this pay political dividends? Because it is a measure that the government announced in order to improve its fortunes amongst voters.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think that goes without question. They put on the Santa hat for for a reason. Tell us about your thoughts on Quebec's economic update. We saw more money for transit, a little bit less money in terms of that tax break for people staying in the workforce past the age of 60. Now they have to stay in past the age of 65 to pick up that tax break. The, finance minister indicating he is comfortable with the finances of the province at the moment. Comfortable. And if you look at this purely from the political lens, what the CAQ is trying to achieve is regain its fiscal credibility. One of the main reasons Quebecers voted for the CAQ, both in 2018 and after the pandemic in 2022, is because they promised, come hell or high water, to be strong, responsible, principled stewards of the public purse. Now, what's interesting today is they projected a deficit of $11 billion in the last budget, and that hasn't changed by increasing, which is what's going to happen in a few weeks at the federal level. What they're trying to achieve right now is to slowly put the handbrake on public expenses. What they're also trying to achieve, which is rather difficult, is to determine what are the must-have expenditures and what are the nice-to-have expenditures. Because by 2026, and why am I saying 2026? Well, that's when the next provincial election is going to be taking place. If they have not achieved to tame and to regain that strength that propelled them to government, which is to be good financial stewards, then that's one less reason as to why those who voted for Le CAQ in 2018 and 2022 will have to re-elect them. So there are going to be some very difficult decisions ahead. The upcoming provincial budget, which should be in early 2025, will also indicate to us if they are willing to make those tough decisions short term, but ultimately will benefit the economy long term. Dimitri Soudas, thanks very much for joining us on the show.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.